I just looked at Emily Riehl's category theory and context notes, and I learned about this from that. Oh, it's a footnote somewhere. Maybe I missed it. She got a job for writing that by the look of it. I think she wrote this when she was in the States. But where's that footnote? This must be a different version. Oh, I was looking at a different version. Well, there you go. It's complicated, isn't it? This is different. But never mind. What I was going to talk about was I just cloned my own metaprogramming repository onto my GitHub, onto my new GitHub. So this is that one. The other one's Ian A.N. Grant, was a capital A and a capital N altogether. But it doesn't come up on search and it's not indexed. So this one is, I think, indexed. But this is all, it's all SML. And in it, if you look at the README, so you see that example A is an example of what it does. And I haven't used higher order functors. It's just standard ML 97, but it is Moscow ML specific. I've used load and I haven't properly tied the signatures and stuff together, but it should run now. I haven't tested it yet, but it should run on my clone of Moscow ML because I've put the UTF-8, and the reason you need UTF-8 is that I've used a lot of System F syntax, and so and an example B is this grammar. And the idea was that I would be able to explore stuff like this, which is in grammar left.txt. Things like this really interesting little example in proofs and types. That's what I was trying to do. This was in 2013. After I'd failed to get any help from people at Cambridge, I was talking to them then about selling my books so that I could just get a little bit of money in order to get this to a point where it was something acceptable. But the email exchange was between multiple people, Thomas Forster and Mike Gordon, and at some point Peter Sewell, and I think Larry, I'm not sure, can't remember exactly. But that was just before I went and ran off into the jungle. Well, to Tumapasa anyway. So I'm going to try and get that going, but it's not up to these to checking these reductions like this. I just did that by hand, but there's some really wacky stuff in proofs and types. The way the syntax works is non-obvious. You've really got to read it terribly carefully. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Yeah. But the other thing I was going to say in this piece of this wacky thing of Bill Gosper's connection between the paper fold sequence, or the dragon curve, and continued fraction arithmetic, and therefore the fairy sequence, is really, really wacky. It's really interesting. And if you look at this video,
math popularizers would describe these as self-avoiding space-filling curves. It turns out there's two problems with that idea. Problem one, there's no such thing as a self-avoiding space-filling curve. And the other problem, whoa, what's going on here? Oh, I thought you were an earthquake. I'm from California.
So if you just watch it, there's this amazing multiply recursive function that this kid wrote, and it reminded me of something that I once wrote. The one time I did manage to use higher order functors, I tried to formalize that construction that I talked about when I was walking in the forest, about a kind of inner model of lambda calculus, but trying to preserve some sort of notion of I don't know what, a functor. And I wrote this higher order functor, which took a couple of copies of itself and kind of did some basic instantiation of whatever types it was you plugged into it. And the first thing I tried it was just 0 and the successor function, and it worked. I got basically a table of exponentials from which I managed to deduce a strange formalization of arithmetic in lambda calculus, where you start with the exponential, and then you extract the product, and then you extract the sum. And I thought that was quite interesting. But all that's on the disk of my first EEE-PC that I took to Bolivia, which was the one with the GPRS, whatever it was, modem in it. That was a weird business. But anyway, that I left it on a bus in Aurora with my British passport and my credit cards and all that stuff, because I figured everything on there belonged to Bolivia. But so there's on that disc there was a example of this functor was in that. But I'm afraid Emily Riehl's, well, I'll look at this version. This looks a bit more digestible. The other one looked like I don't know, it looked like an exercise in getting a job at Cambridge. So that's my video for the day.